Hello, welcome back to Just Be with me, your host, T. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free / spoiler review of 2025's Fantastic Four. Yes. So this is going to be in two sections. A non-spoiler section that kind of introduces the characters, the plot, and then obviously a spoiler section that goes into a little depth. As always, if you want to be here with me, you can go ahead and like the video. It costs nothing, but it does so much. You can subscribe to the channel. Again, costs nothing. Costs nothing, and it does so much. And of course, you can comment your thoughts down below. Did you see Fantastic Four? Were you thinking about seeing it, and are you going to see it now? With that being said, let's get started. This is the non-spoiler section, so just so you know, we're not going to talk in depth. But we are going to start with the characters. So our characters for the Fantastic Four, obviously you all should know them. If not, and you live under a rock, here they are. We have Reed Richards as Mr. Fantastic, Susan Storm as Invisible Woman, Johnny Storm as the Human Torch, and Ben Grimm as the Thing. So all of them used to be pilots for a space program, and unfortunately during one of their expeditions they were hit with some mysterious waves and came back to Earth and boom, had powers. Reed Richards became Mr. Fantastic. He can stretch. It is limited. Susan Storm became the Invisible Woman, and her powers, like, she can be invisible, but it's like she also has like force field abilities. It's very interesting. Johnny Storm is the brother of Sue, and he becomes the Human Torch, so he can flame on, flame off. And Ben Grimm was the best friend of Reed Richards, who became the Thing. He got covered in rocks, and he became very strong. So the villains in this movie there's two villains. We have Shalla, who is canonically the wife to the Silver Surfer. So some of y'all are like, oh, I thought the Silver Surfer was male. He is male, but his wife is Shalla. And in some versions, she is the Silver Surfer. Then we have Galactus.
I herald his beginning. I herald your end. I herald Galactus.
So Galactus is a cosmic being who has a hunger for planets. Choices, right? So basically the storyline is that Shalla comes and warns the people of the Fantastic Four's Earth that Galactus is coming to destroy their planet, and there's nothing that they can do about it at all. But obviously this is the Fantastic Four. They have done everything for their Earth, and they're not going to let their Earth be destroyed by some no-name galactic cosmic being. So the whole movie basically goes through them trying to find a way to stop Galactus. Some working, some not working, some kind of working. And obviously, you guys can kind of guess what happens at the end. I'm not going to tell you, but just know that there is some ups and downs with it. Now, that is the gist of the movie. And before we go to our spoiler section, I want to talk about some of the stuff I have behind here. So this was a comic that was released like a while ago, and it was at my Walgreens, so I bought it. So yeah, it has the movie poster for Fantastic Four, the like futuristic 1950s aesthetic. Love it. And of course we have the front, and it has comic book versions of Mr. Fantastic, Susan Storm, Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm. It also has the first step interviews. This is just for keepsake. Or one thing I want to mention is the score in this movie is by Michael Giacchino. Dun, 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 dun. Like, it is so good. Like, Michael Giacchino, I actually listen to his scores sometimes, like just his scores. Like the Batman score. Dun 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 dun. Like, he ate like that. Michael Giacchino. If you guys don't know, he did a lot of the, if you've seen Up by Pixar, he did the music for that. And he does the music for a lot of different Disney products. The day after I saw the movie, they uploaded him conducting an orchestra with a choir, like full orchestra and choir of the Fantastic Four theme. And I was like, I love it. Can you tell the music educator in me, the music teacher, is coming out real fast. And then the next thing that I have back here is they did like collectibles. One was the robot, but the robot was too expensive for me to buy at the time. So I got this popcorn container, and it says Fantastic Four, and it came with a limited edition character, and I think they come with all of them, but I got Mr. Fantastic, played by Pedro Pascal, and y'all, I've been obsessed with him. Like, I know some of y'all are like, he's been on our screen too much. I don't care, that man looks good, okay? And I want to see more of him, and he looks good as Mr. Fantastic, so I have a little Mr. Fantastic. Okay, let's move on to the spoiler section. Now, you have been warned. If you did not watch the movie, don't watch the rest of this video being like, oh, I didn't know there was a spoiler section. I told you already, okay? So don't act like you didn't know. Don't act brand new. Okay, so obviously we're gonna go through the characters, but we're gonna go in depth. So we have Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic. He's kind of the team lead. He does a lot of the sciencey stuff. He is so smart that sometimes he's a dumbass. He is married to Sue, and they are both expecting a baby. They had been trying, but now they are expecting a baby. And he spends the movie mostly worrying about the baby having potential powers, even though most of the tests are showing that the baby is fine. Next we have is Susan Storm, and she's the Invisible Woman, and she's married to Reed Richards. And they are expecting a baby. She's very excited. She really isn't worried about their child. She wants to love their child no matter what. And she wants to reassure Reed, like, everything's fine. Our baby's gonna be fine. Whether our baby has powers or not, we're still gonna love our baby, okay? And she is definitely mother vibes. She is mother vibes, 100%. Next we have is her little brother, Johnny. He's Sue's younger brother, aka Reed's brother-in-law. And he's the lover boy. If you saw the early 2000s ones with Chris Evans, some people say he's a womanizer. This one, he's definitely a lover boy. He just loves. And he wants to contribute and be supportive to his family, which he ends up doing a lot in the movie in a great way, which I actually love. I know some people want like the womanizer. I don't. I actually like this version of Johnny because it makes it seem like he's contributing and he's not like a hothead. Pun intended. Lastly, we have is Ben Grime, and he is the best friend of Reed Richards. Something that's not mentioned about Ben is he is Jewish. And I mention that because they kind of hint at it and they show a mosque, but they don't go into detail about Ben. And I'm guessing a lot of his scenes might have been cut due to, you know, the two conflicts happening. I do wish we would have gotten more of that because that is part of his character, and I think it's important to have those aspects of your character because it did feel like some of his characterization was lacking. Basically, he's learning to accept his look and live his life the best he can, and he's very protective of Susan, especially now that she's pregnant and even after she gives birth, and Johnny and Reed. Obviously, Reed's his best friend. Then we have Franklin Richards. And you're probably like, who is Franklin? Franklin is the son of Reed and Susan. He is a powerful baby who has cosmic powers. I'll talk about that later, but just know it's a powerful baby. Think like Wanda and Vision's kids. Yeah, in the same boat. Not known to his family until Galactus decides, but because he is this cosmic being, Galactus wants to basically have Franklin take over his seat and wants to go and relax. So the villains of the movie are Shalabal. She is the Silver Surfer in this movie. Obviously, some of you are used to seeing a male, but there has been iterations of the Silver Surfer being female. And basically, she brings Galactus to planets to feed his insatiable hunger. Galactus is a cosmic being who devours planets to quench his thirst. He finds Franklin Richards and he decides to take him or destroy. So he gives an ultimatum to the Fantastic Four, like, give me your baby or your whole planet dies. And it's kind of a dilemma. So, and our last villain is actually shown at the end of the movie in the extra credit scene, and that is Dr. Doom, who's going to be played by Robert Downey Jr. And I say that because we did not see his face. We just saw the back of his costume inside of his metal plate. He is going to be there for Avengers Doomsday. So we're going to see Dr. Doom, which is like the bad guy. Let's move on to the story arc. So basically the movie opens up with the fact that Susan and Reed are going to have a baby. I know I said I'm not doing a recap, but we got to talk about the important parts. And so they find out that they're going to have a baby and they're very excited. Johnny is excited to be an uncle. Ben is excited to be an uncle. And as they're going through with this, basically they're prepping for the baby. But Reed is kind of worried because he wants to know if the baby is going to have powers, if the baby's going to be normal. And Susan is kind of like, babe, like, it's our baby, it's gonna be fine, like, whether they have powers or not, we're gonna love the baby. Ben goes back to his neighborhood and kind of wants to be a role model to the kids in his neighborhood. He kind of has someone that is a love interest, but they don't really explore it. Again, I think some of his scenes might have been cut, but I'm not 100% sure. Johnny wants to contribute more, and so when Reed is talking about he has these recordings that they're getting from space, nobody knows what it is, Johnny's like, okay, cool, let me take care of it. And he's like, let me take care of it, I'll find out what it is. So the family is just chilling one day, and all of a sudden they notice something is coming in the atmosphere. So they go downtown, and boom, Shalabal pops up, and she's like, blah 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 blah, your planet is marked for death.
I herald his beginning. I herald your end. I herald Galactus.
She tells them that Galactus is gonna come and they need to hold their loved ones tight because they gonna die. Everybody's like, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, what are we gonna do? Fantastic Four, what are we gonna do? And so they're like, we're gonna go to space, we're gonna figure it out. Susan, mind you, is preggers. Like, she's boop, whoop, and going to space. I thought that was wild. I was like, y'all not gonna have a pregnant woman go to... Ain't no way. Susan would have sat her pregnant behind at home while the three men went to space. Y'all are a mess for that. But she goes, and so they go into space, and they have this cool, like, space machine. I don't know how to describe it, y'all. It was really cool to see. And so they go to this energy place that looks like where Shalabal is. And as they go, they see this planet, and they're like, okay, something's happening. And they realize the planet is being destroyed from the inside out by Galactus's ship. So they go down trying to find the Silver Surfer, and they get beamed up by Galactus's ship, who then hones in on boop, pregnant Susan, particularly the baby. Like, there's a light that shines on it, and Shalabal is like, Galactus wants to see you all. So they get down, and they have a cute little robot named Herbie, and they're like, Herbie, collect some samples for us because we really want to know what's going on, T. We want to know what's happening. They meet with Galactus, and basically they're like, so why are you trying to destroy our planet? Like, what did we do to you? And Galactus is like, well, I'm hungry. And so he's like, but I will spare your planet if you let me have that baby. And Susan is like, hell no. No, absolutely not. And Galactus is like, I just gave you a good offer. I'm like, I will spare your planet if you give me your baby. And she's like, no. And so Galactus is like, I bet you're about to have that baby now. And he beams her, and Susan goes into labor. And so they try to get away, which they get to their ship, and they do end up getting away, but they're in like a traveling tunnel, and the Silver Surfer is following them. And Susan is like literally about to give birth. They decide to go to a black hole and try and trap the Silver Surfer. They do end up trapping her, and Susan gives birth, and she names the baby Franklin. It's a cute emotional moment because Johnny is like... So then they come back to Earth. They have to do a press conference, and everyone is like, oh my god, did you defeat them? And Reed Richards is like, no. And they're like, well, are we safe? And he's like, I don't know. And they're like, you're Mr. Fantastic. What do you mean you don't know? Like, you guys are the Fantastic Four. What do you mean you don't know? And they're like, well, did they ask for anything? And he's like, they asked for our baby. And they said, and you didn't give them the baby? And this is when I literally face-palmed myself during the movie, because I'm like, what do you mean they didn't give the... Are you... Sir, ma'am, any of you, Galactus could have came and chose any one of your child, and y'all wouldn't give up your baby for the world. Especially your newborn baby? Absolutely not. So they go, and basically they're being called hypocrites. People are like, it's one baby for millions of people, and blah, 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 blah. People are outside their building, protesting, and basically, Susan is like, this is a lot. Like, our baby didn't ask for this. We didn't ask for this. So she goes outside, and she gives a speech. She's like, I'm letting you guys know that I'm not picking you guys over my baby, but I'm not going to pick my baby over you guys either. Like, we're all going to be in this together. Like, I'm not giving up my child, nor am I giving up you. And I think we all have to be here together. And she has a point. As much as they've done for y'all need to reciprocate some of that. Reed decides, because earlier in the movie he was testing this transportation, he's like, we can build a huge transportation and transport our Earth millions away from Galactus, which means that by the time he gets there, they'll be gone. Duh. baby Franklin will be okay. So he builds these machines in different areas of the world. Everybody pitches in, everybody's giving resources to each other. Like, this is the first Earth I've done seen where everybody loves each other. So they start up the programs, getting it started, but then they're like, wait a minute, something's not working. One is down, one becomes two, two becomes three. Guess who's destroying them? Shallaball! Like, girl, nobody asked you to do that, sis. So as she's destroying them, Johnny is like, I bet. So they barricaded, but Johnny already done left with the recordings that he deciphered. Remember the recordings from earlier? Yeah, homeboy deciphered them. Shout out to Johnny. And he catches her before she destroys a New York one. And it's always New York, y'all. It's always New York. Sorry, New York. It can't be LA. It can't be Chicago. It's always New York that gets tore up. Ooh, choices. But he catches her and he plays the recordings of the different planets. And he's like, these people were begging for you not to do this. And you did it. And she's like, ugh, and she leaves. And basically everybody's like, well, now what are we going to do? So Susan is like, well, we can use help from somebody. And I didn't mention him earlier, but they had the Underminer. That's not what his name is, but I literally looked at my brother and I was like, it's giving Underminer from The Incredibles. So I called him Underminer. And basically, he decides to let the people of New York come down there so they get an evacuation plan. But they know that they have to trap Galactus. So what's the best way to trap Galactus? And as much as Reed didn't want to say it, Susan's like, we're going to have to use our baby as bait. I get it, whatever. So they do that. They have this like car seat that's going to protect them. And when Galactus trips something, the transporter will start and they'll be able to send him away. So everybody's gone. They're waiting for Galactus. Galactus pops up, full on, comes down the earth, sizes up the Statue of Liberty, and he goes to baby Franklin. So they're all waiting. And then he, mind you, they already done switched baby Franklin. They took him back to headquarters. So he pauses right before he trips the wire and he's like, there he is. And he goes after baby Franklin. And now the team is like scrambling to stop him. The thing that got flown in the air. Johnny, he went to go save him. They fall. Susan tries to stop him. Her car gets thrown in the building. Mr. Fantastic tries to stop him. And then he starts to get stretched and flung. Yeah, it was wild. So Galactus pulls up on their headquarters where baby Franklin is, and Herbie is like, uh-oh, and he takes the baby, and Susan is like, oh, no, not my child. So she uses her powers to try and stop him, and they start up the portal, and they're like, you have to get the baby. So luckily, the thing is able to break a few buildings, causing Galactus to trip. Mr. Fantastic grabs the baby. He falls, but he's not fully in there yet to be transported. So Johnny is like, you know what? That's my nephew. That's my sister. Those are my brothers. I'm about to do the right thing. He goes to sacrifice himself. Wham! Shellaball does it, and she pushes Galactus into the transporter with her. And basically, Galactus is shooted somewhere far away. We won't see him forever, I guess. But due to Susan using her powers overly using her powers, she ends up kind of, and while Reed tries to resuscitate her, Franklin is like, let me at my mama, let me at my mama, let me at my mama. So finally they let the baby get on her, and all of a sudden, baby Franklin, cosmic baby Franklin, brings Susan back to life. What? Yes, he brings Susan back to life. And so they realize that the danger is over and they don't have to worry about Franklin, but they're still worried about Franklin. So the movie cuts to them going to the show. It's like a 60s inspired or 50s inspired like talk show. And they are supposed to be guests with the baby. And the guy, they're like, oh, we have a little suit for the baby. And Susan's like, yeah, no, he's not wearing that. But then they get an alert stating that they have to leave, and so they go outside and we get this cute little funny scene of Reed, Johnny, and Ben trying to put this car seat in the scene, and Susan's holding Franklin and they're just staring at them with like disbelief. Like, they finally get it and they get in the car and they zoom off to save the day with baby Franklin, which I think is wild. But then we get the ending credits and we see all the people listed, and then we get to the end credits. Okay, so basically Susan is reading Franklin a book, and she finishes it, and she's like, well, I'm gonna go grab another book to read for you. And as she's grabbing that book, she senses something, and as she turns back around, Franklin is talking to Dr. Dome. We don't see his face, we just see his cloak and the side of his mask. But you can assume that it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. if they redo the scene. And basically, it ends with Fantastic Four will return in Avengers Doomsday. Now let's get to my overall thoughts. Okay, so my overall thoughts. This was a really good movie. I like the 1950s scientific style. It felt like the Fantastic Four. And I actually like the Fantastic Four. I watched the earlier 2000s movies and I saw their characters on all the Marvel shows, the Superhero Squad show, if you know, you know. And so I was really excited for this movie. I love what they did with Mr. Fantastic's character, making him so smart he's sometimes dumb. Not dumb dumb, but in a way that he doesn't see the full picture. Susan being such a motherly person was super nice to see. Her being so determined. Johnny was probably the character that I literally liked the most because he wasn't such a womanizer. He still had those lover boy charms to him, but he wanted to be there for his family and support them. And Ben, I understand some of his storylines had to be cut due to conflict things, but I would have loved to see more of that with him. And I definitely enjoyed the movie. I know some people who are super duper comic book fans are gonna have issues, but personally to me, I went in there to be entertained, and that's what I got for the movie. Plus this cool little popcorn box with Mr. Fantastic. But I was entertained, and I really liked it. There was a point where I thought they were gonna move the planet to a different Earth, and that was gonna be the start of Doomsday. But it was just a great movie overall, and I felt like it set the Fantastic Four up for a great run. Something that they did do in the movie was they didn't do a big explanation or a big exposition. They basically just showed clips of them in their suits, the accident, then they showed them fighting different villains, showing their powers, and I thought that was the best way possible to get us to know who the Fantastic Four were. There was no spending so much time on them going into space, the accident, blah blah blah. No, it was to the point. They went in space, they got an accident, they have powers, this is what they do with their powers now. They help people, they are the Fantastic Four. And so I love the fact that they got to the point. I love the fact that every time they tried to stop Galactus, the 2 times they didn't win until they really had to full-on work together. I like the fact that we saw Shia LaBeouf get a redemption, sort of. And of course, the Underminer! It's the Underminer, I'm gonna call him the Underminer forever. But I definitely liked it. The music was really good. Michael Giacchino in that score. And yeah, I really liked it. I liked the direction that they went with it. The art direction was gorgeous. I love this 1950s superistic this is what 2000s was gonna look like vibe, and I love it. I love the costuming. I love the dilemma that they have to go through with either giving up Franklin or saving the world. And realistically, no parent would do that. You just gave birth to your baby, you asked me to give my baby up for the world? Absolutely not. No, you're gonna have to pry my child from my cold dead hands. That type of vibe. But I definitely liked it, and that's pretty much it. As always, make sure you like the video. Comment down below. Did you enjoy my little spoiler review? Would you go see it? Have you seen Fantastic Four? I believe it's still playing in theaters, so you can still watch it before they move it over to Disney Plus, or you can wait till it's on Disney Plus. It's up to you. And what do you think their role is going to be in Doomsday? And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, they're both free, but they do so much. If you know YouTube's algorithm, obviously, or Google's algorithm. And with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Bye.